I've been making ladies tremble ever since the 80s, but after an incident with my cock I stopped all that. Then I started to notice how the world trembles. Earthquakes, volcanoes, Subo. That's when I became a scientist and started doing experiments. In the beginning, my experiments were simple. I would just stand there in my living room and look at pictures of natural disasters on the news without even doing anything about it. After about a year or so of gaining nothing from this, I happened to be going on holiday to Iceland. I went there, and surprisingly most people spoke English, so for the most part I had a good time. I befriended a local man called Father, and we listened to MP3s of Janis Joplin together. Then, on the final night of my stay, Father told me that he wanted me to meet his father, a man also called Father. It was at this point things began to get confusing. Yet we set off in the direction of Father's father, Father's house. Father explained to me that his father, Father, lived on a volcano, and I felt a twist in my wranglers at the thought of visiting such a magnificent spectacle. As we approached the volcano, known in the local dialect as Pabi, which roughly translates as Father, Father noticed a great column of ash rising from the lip of Father, casting a dreadful shadow down upon Father's house. Father began to worry. I wasn't bothered though, because he wasn't my father, and so we went closer. By now, Father was raining lava down onto Father's house, and Father was screaming, because despite what you'd think, he couldn't see Father anywhere. In my mind though, I couldn't have been farther away from the situation, for as the rivers of molten death struck down upon us, I was fascinated by the spectacle before me. The raw power of nature ripping apart the terrain like Eamon Holmes with a packet of biscuits filled me with awe, and for the first time in ages I was able to ejaculate. In the end, Father killed both Father and Father, however I was airlifted to safety by Bjork, who gave me a JPEG of herself in the bath, so I left Iceland and came home. From that day forward I vowed in the name of Father and Father to make more effort in my research. I travelled the world on my Freeview box and watched all the programs I could about natural disasters. It was then that I started to notice a rather disturbing pattern. Whenever there was a disaster, for example a tidal wave, there were more disasters elsewhere. A hurricane in Florida would quickly be followed by a flood in Bangladesh. A landslide in China would often precede a famine in Scotland.
Hey, you fucker!
Soon I realized the truth. After I realized the truth, I decided to keep it a secret, but then I changed my mind and wrote a book about it. I had noticed that there were loads of natural disasters. It made for a good read, and soon I was an expert, but this didn't stop the disasters from happening. After a while though, people lost interest, and so I went home and put the telly on. But don't forget, one day you're going to die, just like Father. So instead of listening to Janis Joplin and thinking everything's okay, why not shit yourself and buy my book? Ah.